talked to him yesterday.
Yeah.
He was so thrilled. He was so thankful that
Yeah.
he got it. And I said, you should be telling everybody about
He
it.
just had to send us a statement saying, I don't have any employees, and that's all it was. Like, it's not a
And
big deal.
they're calling you, and you're walking through, and I mean, that's time consuming, but.
They're emailing, and then I email them back everything that's missing. And then some of them have called like 10 times because they can't get it. I really don't know.
That's a
why.
lot of extra time and
It's a
effort.
lot of time to go back and forth or,
Yeah.
you know,
No
unfortunately.
good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah. Well, then I'm going, oh my God, I'm glad we did grants. I can't imagine how bad it would be if it was loans.
Oh my God. Well, maybe there's a time frame. If you don't get it in
So,
within a month
We're
of your
gonna have to put a
application.
cap on it, but maybe that's for the full board, I guess, but I
Yeah.
just was bringing that up because it was something that was kind of
Again,
bothering me.
that goes back to a joint effort of mentoring or something like that.
Right. And there is isn't there that senior citizen group that mentors that could handle something like this? You know, they help you, they're a group of senior citizens, they're all retired employees, CEOs and people like that. Lisa would know who they are. I've worked with them before.
What do we have out there? What would grant, how many grant applications in total? Was it 17?
Ballpark.
I have no idea.
20?
No, it's more than that.
30?
Like that are outstanding?
How many
Yeah.
of
No,
them
no,
are
no, no,
dentists?
that applied for the
Yes,
PPE.
before. Okay.
How many of them aren't dentists?
There's like 40 or something, like 42 or something.
There's a lot of them. No, there's more than what you guys saw because
Oh.
a lot of them were missing
50?
information. So those were only the ones that we could get completed within 1 week before the,
No, what I'm saying, is there 50, is there 40, is there 60, is there,
yeah, I have no
Ballpark.
idea. I truly have no
Give me a
idea. I'm
guesstimate.
looking right now.
come on, throw one out there. Come on. All of them.
Bet you Joe would know.
Yeah, somebody call.
Hold on, I gotta do some research.
61.
61, so we got 61, we've got 7 board members.
There's 60 of them, and there's 48 that you guys dealt with at the August.
Okay.
So there's 13 or 14 that are completed.
Right. So some of them might have come in after that
Okay.
wording. But all the ones that were completed, like, we went back and forth with them. Some of them were multiple phone calls. One of them in particular, we've been going back and forth for over a month because she can't.
Well, maybe you whack them up between the board members to call them up and say to them, hey, listen, this is what we need, and this is what we require. You give them a little more hands-on, you know, and we use it as a mentoring tool almost.
Yeah, I mean, some, if there's ones that are more difficult, but some of them, like, I just have to send them back an email saying you're missing this, this, and this, which is the same amount of work as sending.
How
it to
about
you,
we send
right?
them one
Saying
that's
you're missing
completed, unless yours looks like
Sample
this.
one, yeah, 2 sample ones, one.
Yeah.
You can make one up.
Unless yours looks like this, you're wrong.
Yeah, but that is not look like this. You've gotta have the information that she's
It's-
requiring.
yeah, it
No,
says
but
like,
what I'm saying, you're,
what's your NAICS code, so we know what type of business it is, and like, it says that, they just don't fill out the application either.
then don't send them anything. Somebody's gotta take some ownership of it, right?
Or
We're
have a-
trying to give it to you.
Yeah,
Have,
it's
if
really.
you don't have the
frustrating.
information within 30 days from the submittal of this application, this will be void.
Well, maybe you have to start the process over again,
And that's
okay,
it.
right?
Well, whatever, if they have to understand if they can't get it together and they don't wanna get it together within a certain time period, they lose it.
You don't wanna deny anybody, but if somebody is not taking responsibility to fill out the completed application, I mean, there's not,
They're
what are you
getting
gonna
free
do?
money.
You can beg them all you want.
Mhm.
We still have to, we're mandated by the state to follow certain guidelines,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we have to achieve that goal.
So, yeah, and we're paying, a good fee for you to be begging them.
Yeah.
So we should be stopping that.
So, do you not want me to send them an email back saying what they're missing? You want now? I mean,
I mean,
where do we draw the line?
I mean, I would send the email saying you're missing this, this, and this, and
That's what we're doing.
keep it, keep it down on that, I mean, and see what happens, and tell them, we need the information within X amount of time to
Right.
process the
Well, I'm
application.
not going back and reminding them.
No.
I'm sending the email once saying
Final
you're missing
notice.
this, and then some of them don't send everything again the second time through, so then I respond again.
Can we kind of something to like sending them a complete one or a cheat sheet, like this is what, I mean, just keep it simple and refer them to that or attach it, I don't know.
I mean, on the application it says, did you attach your payroll journal, check yes or no? And they're just not doing it.
Michael, how about
all right, yeah.
Like, really common sense stuff.
I would send them a final notice
Yeah.
saying that they have to achieve this within the next, what's the time frame you need?
Well, if it's gonna be voted on at the September board meeting, it's 1 week before that, so I think September first would be the deadline.
Then hit
And
it,
just
hit the
say
number.
if they don't have it completed, they're still not saying you have still September.
It-
That's
it
essentially
seemed
what
to
I'm
work out,
doing.
it seemed to work out for
Just do it.
compliance letters when we
Just
put
do
a
it,
sunset
okay.
date on it.
No, I'm not going back to them a second time. It's still just extremely time consuming to go through and make sure they've done
This will be a
everything.
final notice.
But only like, I would say maybe 5 of them are go back to twice or more.
Listen, I don't think it's, I think this board is doing everything it can with the committee that was put forth to get this to go, okay, to help people out in terrible times right now. But, they also need to help us out.
Yeah.
I would put, you need it by September first, this is a final notice, you are in jeopardy of losing your grant.
That's essentially what we're doing.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so
And
you have that,
literally saying, we have to have it by this date in order to be considered at the next board
That's
meeting. But then some of them send stuff and it's still not correct, so then
Well,
we
you know
respond
what,
and
if
say
they
it's
send
still
it,
not
that's
correct.
their problem. It's not our problem.
And I don't know, if we do something like this moving forward, whether it's Zoom or whatever.
But then
you
they
know,
call the
lessons
office
learned
if
from
I don't
this, that,
respond.
You know, we do some mentoring, or we have a,
I agree.
like you were saying, a cheat sheet, what this is what a completed application looks like, or this is a definition of what we're looking for, you know.
I mean, I don't know how seriously, how
It
much
is pretty
more
simple, I
Because
saw
it
it.
literally is, did you attach this? Yes, no. Like, and they just don't check it, or they just leave it blank and they don't answer the question.
Well, I don't, if it's that simple and people aren't filling it out for whatever reasons, I think just one and done. You're missing this, you have to this to get it in.
There you go.
At any new form you send out, any new application should have a stop date on it. Like when
Well, we
you,
don't have a stop date for the whole, like, for the grant.
I
When
know,
do we
but
stop
for
it
the
doing?
application,
Yeah,
you
we
have
don't,
a stop date.
when I
Not for the
reply
grant.
back, I do give them a stop date.
So you give them like a 30-day period or
No,
whatever.
I say it has to, we have to have it by X date in order for it to be considered at the next board.
Which, that goes to approval, that just delays their grant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
And then they should have to fill out another application.
So I have, you know, or some of them, don't attach receipts like it says to do. Some of them, like, I mean, literally, we've had them not fill out almost everything. It's insane sometimes.
Well,
Well, then
they're trying to help them, and they don't wanna help themselves. That's what it comes down to.
And so like I said, I just copy and paste where I've already had emails where I'm like, you need a signed completed tax return. So I copy and paste from the old ones, so I'm not like sitting there retyping the same email.
right, right.
But it's still time consuming.
It is, very much so, especially when you got a million other things.
But I feel like the one thing I do wanna do is at the next board meeting, we have to come up with when are we done with the grant?
All right, yeah.
Well, isn't that simple? Did we talk about a budget for the grants?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, but I
money
don't,
runs,
What's
Yeah,
this?
the money runs out.
the money's not gonna run out fast enough.
Okay.
Unfortunately, people aren't applying fast enough for that to happen.
The only thing I
So
would
you're
say
gonna
is,
have to do like November
Yeah.
or December, like we can't keep doing this next year.
No, no.
Chair, do you agree that maybe we follow the same, with science, right, with the state? I mean,
yeah.
suppose something spikes again in
That's what I'm
January.
thinking, we have a research what they're predicting, and I think we should have that available to small businesses.
Right, but I
before-
mean, we can
into
stop
the new
accepting
year.
applications at the end of the year, and then if something does happen, you guys for sure
We
can always
reactivate
bring
the
it back
program.
up.
Okay.
We
Absolutely.
reactivate it, okay, because
That makes sense.
there is no deadline attached to this initiative that came out from the
No, there
state, so,
There is. It's December of 2021, I think.
2021.
Yeah, and we can't do it.
But that's what I'm
for a year
saying,
and a
so
half.
we have some runway here, if there's a spike that we're able to reactivate.
Yeah, bring it back up.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, the next item was talking about monthly financial reports to the board, so if there are items that we think that we, currently are not providing the full board in terms of financial reports that we should be thinking about and considering sending. I know one of the things Rick brought up at the board meeting last month was having, not related, but, looking at our projects over time that are not compliant, that's a different matter.
Yeah, for the low key braille stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. Like for example, one of the things I was thinking is in here on page 7 is the accounts receivable report. Is that something that would be useful for the whole board to see? You know, so
Ooh,
were there problems with the reports that was, we already do? Is there something that would make it more clear?
All right, block B, so Amthor Welding Services we'll use, the first one.
Yeah.
61 to 90.
Yes.
Is that the current?
They sent a package that arrived on Friday. I don't know, but I mean, that's as of June 30th. That's, most of those, so the $1,000 ones were the ones that are 2,500. $1,000 ones are the late filing fee. The 1,500 is their annual fee. Remember, we did tell everybody that they could wait until the end of October,
Yeah.
August
pay their
31st to
annual fee.
pay. I have to ask, I was gonna ask the board at the special meeting this week, what we wanna do about that. Do we still wanna extend it, or we just send out? I think we extended it enough, unfortunately. Send out statements saying, you owe us the 1,500, the extended period is up. These fees were due months ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we should.
We've extended it twice.
Well, of course.
Yeah, for a couple, yeah, so.
We gotta get it in
So now
before
we
this
send
year,
it
right?
out,
We
right?
have to get it in for this calendar year.
Right.
So we
Right.
gotta get it in.
So that'll come back to the full board to send some letters back out for those folks that haven't paid the 1,500.
I mean, it doesn't have to go to the full board because they already voted for it to do that, so I could just do it.
No,
I
that's
just
it.
wanted to run it by
It
somebody.
extinguishes, yeah,
Let's
that's
do
it.
Just do it,
Alright,
I'll
letters
just send it
out.
out.
Okay.
So we'll do that, but, so some of the 61 to 90 is not as bad as it looks, because they really have until August 31st.
Okay.
But some of them were, any that are the 1,500 or the 500,
What's the 2,500?
that's because they owe 1,500 plus 1,000.
Oh, got it, okay, so they're late, really late. So is that saying that they're not doing well, or we're just being
And
late?
some of the $1,000 ones have late fees, some of them I guess were their annual fee. If you wanna know who owes the late fee, I can tell you that separately.
No, sorry, but, interesting. This is something I think we should see as a board.
Should we do it on a quarterly basis, instead
Yeah.
of every month, I mean.
Yeah.
Is that, what's the lift on that to do it quarterly?
Do it quarterly?
No, I literally, it's 2 clicks, in QuickBooks,
Alright.
it's no big deal.
I think,
Cause I track it,
I
it's
think
tracked.
that gives us a better opportunity to police it.
So, I'm not gonna do anything at this next board meeting, but in the October one, we'll do September's accounts receivable. Cause that'll also give us a good idea, September is kind of an unfair one, because the September board meeting will only be through August. People weren't required to pay it until August 31st.
And then we'll have October back.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
So to the board on a quarterly basis then for this.
okay.
Was there another one in particular you thought, Rose, might be helpful for the board?
No, I didn't know if there was anything else that you guys felt like you just
I mean, I don't
weren't
think the
seeing
general
enough of,
ledger
or
stuff-
if the reports you have are confusing and should be changed in any manner.
I think, Rose, at least in my mind, some of the things, just in terms of the general ledger and expenses, et cetera, I think it would be helpful if there's anything that's exceptional, just to flag something that seems to be trending in a way that
Yeah.
seems to be askew, and that we should start to at least have our eyes on.
Yeah, we've definitely, what we normally do is, when we're going through a monthly or whatever, Rick or I'll say, the legal is high, we need to address this, or something along those lines, right? We don't, but the whole board doesn't usually get the full general ledger.
No, I don't think they need it, just flagging things. Okay. Any thoughts about what else we should be reporting to the board in terms of financials?
So this shows every single expense, the general ledger?
Every single transaction, yeah.
Alright. Good?
Yeah.
You good with pay?
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty. The next item on the agenda is the RFP for independent auditor on page 22.
This is a copy of the one we had in 2014, because that's the newest one I can find.
But you can't find the 2017 one?
No.
No, I was gonna ask you.
It might have been done by Joe Scott's office, so.
Okay.
So this is the old one, you're gonna see it when I turn to 25.
Rose, for me, I read through it and, you know, I'm not sure that there's anything in here that we need to change or update, but I was curious about, we need to update the dates, we need to put your
The
name in
dates,
there.
yeah, the staff, yeah, I didn't
Um,
change a thing, obviously.
Right, so essentially we just have to
Yeah.
change some of the basic things, but the one thing that I did see that I'm wondering is, we've asked for hard copy, for anyone's proposal be submitted, right? Hard copy, and I'm wondering if we would be accepting electronic proposals.
Yeah, I
at
would
this
say
point.
that's a good
Right.
change. Where is that
I
on?
think it's at the very end, I forget what page it is. Oh yeah, return date on page 25.
The original
Submit one
document?
original set
Okay.
of copies. I think we can go electronic unless anyone thinks that there's a problem
Yeah,
with
that makes sense.
electronic
They're
submission.
probably, I imagine that must have changed in 2017
I would
as well,
hope
'cause this
so.
was so
Yeah,
long
yeah.
ago.
That's why I was like, do we have the 2017 one? But,
Yeah, no, I tried to find it, I couldn't find it.
and I guess the other thing, is there any legal language that's now obsolete or needs changing based on any changes since 2017?
I mean, I could do my first draft and then send it to Joe Ariel to make sure
Okay,
that it's,
just to make sure we're in line with
Acceptable,
everything.
yeah.
Okay.
I do think it's a good idea to do the 3 years. I think,
I was gonna ask you that.
accounting wise, you're gonna, for sure, you're gonna get a better price. Cause there's a lot of work that goes into the first year of doing financial statements. And then assuming you have the correct programs, the second and third year are much easier. So they're definitely gonna give you a better price if you do 3 years.
Okay.
The list on page 28 is who we sent them to last time.
Yep.
If there was any that we should change, do we have to take one of them out if there's conflicts or?
Is there conflicts in that list?
I'm not sure, is there a conflict?
Alright, well, Berardi and Gottstein, Bill Berardi's my brother-in-law.
That's what I was asking.
And Bernadette's my attorney.
Huh?
Bernadette Ferrari's my attorney.
Is she?
Yep.
Bernie's the best.
Why aren't we just advertising it under public law? Just advertise it.
Do you wanna put an ad in the paper as well, and is that what you
Well,
want?
like you would have to put a notice for a meeting.
Yeah, I don't know, I just know this is how it was done, is the RFPs were sent to a specific account. But we
Let's get
take
a
out
determination from Joe Scott. You could always solicit, say, hey, we only have 2, does anybody know of anyone out there? But I gotta believe in some way, shape, or form, as a public entity, you have to open that process up.
Yeah, I'm sure there is another method, but then they also sent them to these as well.
Okay,
So we should still send them to these, right?
Yeah, and maybe find out how that list was compiled.
what I'm telling you is you should put it in the newspaper,
Scott would know.
No, this was done by the Office of Economic Development, and Suzanne.
Advertise that.
Yeah, and
You
then
have to.
advertise.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure it does,
Okay.
yeah.
Don't you have to put it in 3?
yes.
3 papers.
What papers are left?
I think,
Shawanga.
You got the Freeman, you got the Journal,
Freeman, Yeah.
yeah, the Journal
and you
Yeah, I
got the
have
Daily
this,
Record.
and the Record.
And again, these were just, on page 29, it was just the prices that came back to us in case you guys were curious.
Right.
Just so we had an idea when we get them back.
Okay, and the timeline for this again, will these RFPs or the
These we
notes?
done like ASAP,
Okay,
because they're gonna start doing their work probably in November for the 2020 year.
okay.
Think about you.
The year that won't end.
I know.
Okay, all right, so you're good and,
And
this
who
is
are
my-
we using right now?
Patterson Koski, Howard-Lucci, except they're now UHY LLP.
And why aren't we using the cheaper one, Ponyasa?
I can't answer that, I didn't choose them.
This is 2014.
I know that, but,
I don't know.
yeah, well, maybe we're not using them then. If
No,
it's
we are.
2014. Oh, we are.
We are.
Yeah, so we should,
Oh,
we should
yeah.
check into, we should get another,
We use them continuously, yeah, there were 2 cheaper ones, I can't answer that.
Okay,
Well, at the end of the day, we're doing it for transparency's sake. You know, if you end up with someone that you're more comfortable working with, and it's de minimis amount, then you do what you have to do, but, we owe the public the opportunity to know this is how the process works.
and then the proposals come back to the board, full board for,
I like that. That sounds
selection,
great.
right?
I don't know if it would go back to.
No, I would have
Wonder
a
if the
committee
next
come
one
back.
goes.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't know if it would go
I'm
through
talking about
the
the
audit
proposal.
committee first,
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
okay,
but then yes.
right, so it's a board decision at the end of the day as well, who we select. Yep, okay. All right. Anything else with audit? Okay,
Not on that.
No.
okay. Great, you have everything you need, Rose? Yeah. All right, next thing on the agenda is website review, page 30, and,
I added that in, sorry, because I realized
I
after
know,
I talked to you.
so Rose and I go, well, why don't you do this?
You and I had talked about it a little bit already, so I was like, we shouldn't be.
Rose and I were in a training a couple of months back and, trying to understand, you know, in terms of what we need to do to be compliant, specifically related to the website. So there is certain information and records that need to be kept, et cetera, that Rose and I were going through the meeting and we were texting back and forth during it, do we have this, do we have that? And so essentially what you see on page 30 is a list of items that we need to put on the website to be in compliance. And so the estimated hours for Rose, or someone to do that would be just over 30 hours to get us compliant on the website in terms of information that we have available for the public. Rose, anything you wanna add to that?
No, I just didn't wanna go ahead and do it, even though it has to be done, just because we're looking at it. If we had all of the information at our fingertips, we're looking at our estimate was roughly 31 hours of work to try to get everything on the website. Problem is, we don't have all the information at our fingertips, because what the ABO requires is honestly, it's a lot. You have to have every single project that we have, all these documents have to be on the website for them. And some of these projects are 15, 20 years old, so I don't have them necessarily. Some of them are here, and now, Ariel and I met with Mark Ryder, and we're welcome to take them, but we're talking like 30 plus boxes downstairs here, 30 plus in my office. Plus, if we don't have them, some of them would have to come from Joe Scott's office, and we've requested they not be the first choice for getting the documents from, because it's a lot of work to go back and find them. So 31 hours if I have them all, and we don't. So again, I wanted to get an approval because that's above and beyond our normal work every day as the administrative staff, so I don't wanna just be spending an extra $3,000 to $5,000 without talking to you guys.
Well,
That's
is
not
there
my
a
fault.
way you can get whatever you have and give it to somebody who's way less money and hours to input the information?
We had talked about maybe getting like an intern or finding somebody. The problem is you can't have somebody that's like you're paying on payroll. You don't have payroll. So you can't just pay somebody and making it up $15, $20 an hour
So
to
we
do
have
it.
to put it out to bid.
You'd have to put it out to bid to somebody that, and they'd have to be insured, et cetera.
So really, we're looking towards more like an accounting firm. Well,
No, I mean, but it's
We
gonna
could-
be,
it could be,
it could be an intern
I had a
that
guy,
doesn't get paid.
we had a guy that did it for the union, transferred a bunch of boxes around when we were shredding documents, certain things had to be uploaded into the computers and everything, filed. We had somebody do it.
I think we should reach out to the college and see if there's anybody that they, an intern from the college who maybe needs it for credits or something, where
Give it to
they're,
economic development.
something, yeah. There's gotta be tons of kids who can do this fairly quickly.
Well, they're not gonna do it faster than this, putting on the third. But
Well,
still,
I'm
but
saying they're savvy with,
the bigger problem is gonna be finding all the
So
documents.
that's a question I have for you. So some of these things, we're going through the guidelines, right, from ABO.
Yeah.
Some of it is you need 2 years of records for certain things, 4 years on the website of other records. So we don't necessarily have to dig back into the
No,
basement
you
for
do.
everything.
You do, because it's all of our projects. It's 2 years after the project, no longer our project.
So
That's where the real problem comes.
So if
Okay,
it's
so
if it's a 25-year pile, it's 27 years.
You have to
28
have-
years,
Yeah.
Is there no flexibility though that we know of that's baked into this that, I
like a
mean,
7-year statute.
yeah, I mean,
No, there's not, as
exactly.
long as it's
You
a
don't have to
project,
pay
you have
taxes
to
for
have
7
this.
Yeah.
years,
just
right?
like
You
that.
gotta keep paper of your taxes
Yep.
for 7
And
years.
wipe your sweat off your brow.
But this is a project that's continuously going for 25 years, so you
Alright.
have to have the information as to how it got started.
You mean, I can throw my taxes out there at 40 years old? I have about,
Anything older than 7
So-
years.
I got a question then.
Yeah.
Previous to this board,
You don't have to live in fear anymore. Sorry,
previous to
Mike.
this board, who handled that and monitoring that?
The Office of Economic Development, there was a lot that we had to put on the website already, but this was gonna be a huge project, that's why I didn't do it.
Right.
so ADO is gonna come down on us if this isn't done by the end of the year?
ABO has already written a report about us
Yeah.
not doing it several years ago, we
Yeah.
did it. And it's not by the end of the year, it's
So
like
what
it's
about a
supposed to be
discussion
years
to-
ago.
It was clear.
What about
that
a
we
discussion
needed this.
to-
Yeah.
To involve economic development?
To see if they'll do it, because they were paid to do it.
Okay.
If we have to, if we're looking down the
That's
avenue to
Jim's
put it out to bid,
department.
we're looking down the avenue to put it out to bid anyway. And we have the resources here on this floor,
Can't hear.
you know, I think that's something for discussion.
Well, it is, you know, it's a good idea, because, it would certainly keep helping us to cement our new relationship with them, you know?
And I mean, it's
Do that too?
kind of past practice, right? Historically speaking.
Yeah, this is all old stuff, it's not
So
the new
you-
stuff, any of the new ones we put on,
Right.
because we do them as we go, like Golden Hill's already up there.
So it seems to me we would reach back to them and ask for their help to get this or complain or
Reach out to
whatever.
Lisa,
And see that they'll do it.
see what's up,
Yeah, just see what they say.
let's have a discussion.
Okay,
Alright.
okay.
Okay.
So we come back to this question of getting the documents, but there's also a time issue, right? It's still the 30 hours of work.
It's still over 30 hours of them putting, if they could do it, they could put it up on the website, I could show them how.
Alright.
But that's just to put it up on the website, that's not to find the
Right, that's
documents.
not the hundreds of hours of finding.
That's
and-
gonna be the
Well,
really
Have you
terrible.
gone to any of these other IDA websites and seen if they're there?
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Okay. And
So-
we live by the rule of we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, and when Senator Scoopus was here, he did say like ours was one of the better ones.
Yeah,
Good.
so
We
that's
do
what
have
I'm
them.
trying to
So
get
what
at.
are they gonna
Just
do to us if we don't have it done?
Probably put you in jail for that.
That's okay, I need a break from real estate, let me tell
There,
you.
before you go, Faye, I found a pretzel in it.
So you can, I mean, we can ask economic development and then go from there, whether or not you wanna do it. I have to tell you, this is what's required, we're not doing it.
Okay,
Okay.
I
well,
just wanna
you
be
know, when
aware.
here's what I'm telling you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When New York State comes and makes an issue of it, the ABO say, listen, I'd like to see all the documentation, the letters you've sent to every existing IDA in this state who's not up to code. And if that's not the case, then I suggest you take that one and tear it up.
Please provide us a detailed,
Yeah, I kinda tend to agree with Jim on this,
With the
because
years
it's
of
like, we got enough to
1974
deal with
to
without having to
I
deal with
know,
all
it's a
this.
lot, that's a lot.
You know,
Yeah,
or
it's-
make a suggestion that we come up with a date. Say it's
If
2000.
if they say something, yeah.
so we have 30 boxes up here of information, is what you're saying now?
There's a 30-something, and then I have 30-something in my office as well.
So there's a lot of information there. So I think maybe
Well, I don't
reach
understand why
out
you're dragging the feet, Russ.
and see if we can find an intern, that'd be the ideal situation, to find an
Less is not
intern
more in
and
this
put
case.
everything.
So,
So,
alright, so find intern, reach out to economic folks, do the best you can.
Okay.
And let us know how it looks next time you meet.
Sounds good.
Alright, thanks. Alright, and that ends our new business. So we have to review, current policies and look through, make sure, see if there's any recommendations that we wanna make, and send back to governance. I don't expect to get through all of these, just a few today. We have put on the agenda, worked with Bruce to put these more in an order of importance in terms of more timely things, related to roads work, et cetera. So my expectation is we'll get through fee schedule policy, respecting uniform criteria in travel and discretionary funds. And then we'll pick back up with the background check policy at our next audit meeting. Alright. So the fee schedule guidelines on page 48.
I think the main focus for what we had sent back from governance was, and the reason it had come up really was, I think we've done a lot to go through this over the last year or two. The major, I would guess, issue would be the transfer of ownership of an existing project. So right now, it literally says, the agency's project fee is at minimum $3,000. That's a lot of leeway. So we were looking to tighten that up a little bit. So what we had thought was 1% of the change in project value, and then Diane had come up with, or like a percentage of that 1% based on how much the pilot changed or based on other changes. And I just wanted to firm up the wording.
So for the program fee schedule, we have the fee for new projects and then for existing projects, right? So we have the 3,000 for existing projects. 3,000 as it's written in this policy
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is for the new projects, and this came up because of the Golden Hill project. And given the concessions that were made through pre-assessment and talking to the board and other conditions that we've been discussing and negotiating with Golden Hill, it seemed reasonable that given the concessions that they had made and were willing to make, that we move off of a 1% and instead look at what would be reasonable given the concessions. And so we are proposing that there's a 0.5% up to a 1% program fee, depending on the project itself, and leaving it at the discretion of the board, given the nuances of any particular project, to use this as a range for setting the program fee.
This is for new projects?
For new projects.
Well, the transfer of ownership of an existing project. So like Golden Hill was already a project.
But
but they
it's
sold-
considered a new project.
Yes,
Well, you
but
got
it's on this chart,
Categories here, so which category
it's
is it?
the transfer of ownership.
Transfer.
Okay,
yeah.
transfer,
Yeah.
got it.
It's
Okay.
considered a new project for ABO reporting.
Right.
But
So
it's,
there's only 2 years
yeah.
left on a pilot.
right, it's something like that, and it's,
Yeah.
That's important as well.
Yeah.
So should there be a little matrix design
Yes.
that will, all these bullet points?
Sure, what kind of points, like
Well, like how many years left, on what they're paying, how many
Years
years.
left.
The difference between the initial value of the pilot based on, like you say, this value of property up there, when they purchased it from the county versus the price point that's been created now.
staffing changes, so we could just do something for staffing changes as well, and some of them, this one was an extreme.
We're not gonna have that lateral ability on every other project. We have it here because it's a continuation.
No, but some of them like Woodland, Golden Hill, forgetting the RN CMA stuff, they were only committed to 279 employees, and in 2019 they had 330. So if it transferred, we don't want them to go back to 279, we want them to
Right,
maintain.
I mean, the
right?
promise of the tax incentive was having a certain amount of employees, no
Well,
matter
no
what that
reduction
company
work.
is.
You know, and
Yeah.
again, there's other stuff that may or may not be involved in, you know, when you say the board's discretion, there may be things that come up before you
Yeah.
that would necessitate a drop of 15 jobs. You have to be able to take that into account.
And that's the reason for the flex in
I
this.
mean, the Golden Hill thing here, this is more quality of life than anything else.
Like IE.
Yeah, each individual one is going to demand something different.
Right, that's why there should be.
So that's why it's a little bit hard, I mean, there are some things we could put like a matrix type.
Well, some things are
But
concrete, the difference,
some
you
things
know,
you
your,
can't,
your
yeah.
baseline is the different valuation. The minutia part of, well, like I said, okay, so you take this one that was 11 million.
Yep.
Okay, well, maybe you take into account that they put another 9 in capital improvements. So instead of saying 11 and 40, now you're saying 20 and 40. So there's, you know, but you've gotta create a baseline, a floor
We gotta
kind of
run out.
thing, and I think
Take a break.
the dollar value, I don't know, Mike, what do you think?
Well, I think it should be based on a dollar value too. But I also think, it's hard for me because I would like to see something written in there and certain, if we're gonna go with some kind of a matrix at that point, something stating that, you know, provide, you get X amount of points. I don't even know how to state that because everything's gonna be different. I'd like to see it so
You
there's no
can't-
reduction in workforce. It's almost like it's gotta be,
Well, you've gotta quantify why there's gonna be a reduction in workforce. I mean,
yeah, I mean, if there's something in there that, you know, pandemic wise, you know, reduction. But perfect example is Golden Hill is an anomaly at this point because the pandemic really doesn't affect that. I mean, people are still there with needing care. But what's that, you know, if you have a business that has 50 people
I
in
think
it,
it should be just a series
shut
of
it down.
questions, not so much points, but questions that
Yeah.
is left up to our discretion.
Yeah.
After
And
those
then
questions
agree-
are answered,
agree
Where
on
would
it
it go?
ahead of time also, like we would say, it's half of the 1% up to the 1% based on these items, and at the board discretion,
Discretion.
and we'll give
Yeah.
you, a proposal or whatever, you know, whatever the word is, ahead of time to let you know what kind of range you're looking at, or something along those lines.
You could go back to, say, the Wolf Tech project, well, it's means and method there, their business is changing all the time, so maybe it becomes more mechanically based than actual, you know, employees,
And
so.
if, yeah, it comes on the market share on that too. Do you have the people that have the skills and ability to do that job? Maybe that's why.
low
Right.
charge.
Which is why I'm trying to say that you don't lock yourself in.
Yeah, you don't
Create
wanna,
some loose criteria that, you know, just basic things you need to know. And then, you know, to be fair, it's hard to, you know, not everybody wears a blue shirt. Not everybody wears, you know,
So maybe, Jimmy, and Mike, in the language we put, it's discretion, but give them examples. For example, if you.
I think what you're putting in there already, Diane, is good. When you're talking about basic numbers to start the process with, you know, 0.5% as opposed to 1 on taking over a pilot. I think that's a good baseline for people, and now come in and tell us why it should be this instead of that,
Yeah, put it on.
because not everything is the same.
Yeah, so we're putting the onus on the person coming forward.
That's right.
All right, so we don't want a criteria, we'll leave it basic.
Yeah.
Okay.
The good
we should
part
leave
is the
the
more you
questions
do,